In the vast expanse of the galaxy, countless civilizations have risen and fallen, each vying for dominance. For centuries, the galaxy's fate had been dictated by the iron will of two superpowers, the Zorax Imperium and the Vorten Alliance. Both wielded technologies far beyond comprehension, their fleets vast and unstoppable. Yet, amid this cosmic theater of destruction, a new contender had emerged, the humans of Earth. Compared to the advanced species of the galaxy, humans were seen as little more than upstarts. Their ships were clunky, their technology primitive, and their numbers too few to make a significant impact. Yet, if history had proven anything, it was that underestimating humanity was a mistake many would come to regret. The war had raged across countless star systems, consuming planets and civilizations in its wake. Alliances shifted, betrayals were commonplace, and hope was a fleeting commodity. The Zorax and Vorten had clashed in a brutal stalemate, each side unwilling to concede an inch. The humans, desperate to secure their place in the galactic hierarchy, had thrown their lot in with neither faction. Instead, they fought their own battles, often outmatched but never outwitted. At the heart of humanity's resistance was the Dauntless, an aging battleship that had seen better days. Its hull was scarred from countless engagements, and its systems were held together by ingenuity and sheer stubbornness. Yet what the Dauntless lacked in firepower, it made up for in the brilliance of its commander, Elias Trent. Known for his unconventional tactics, Trent had earned a reputation as a maverick, unafraid to challenge convention. As the latest battle unfolded near the war-torn Vega system, the Dauntless found itself in a precarious position. Alien warships bristling with advanced weaponry surrounded it, their captains eager to eliminate this persistent human thorn in their side. The odds were grim, and any conventional commander would have surrendered or retreated. But Trent was anything but conventional. "We've danced with death before," Trent said calmly to his crew, his voice steady despite the chaos unfolding around them. "And today will be no different." His crew, seasoned veterans who had long since learned to trust his instincts, nodded grimly. They knew he always had a plan, even if it seemed insane at first. Trent's fingers danced across the holographic interface as he surveyed the battlefield. The enemy ships were moving in formation, their weapons primed to obliterate the Dauntless in a single volley. There was no room for error. "Prepare the projectors," Trent ordered, a glint of mischief in his eyes. "Sir," one of his officers asked, confusion evident in his voice. "You heard me," Trent said firmly. "We're going to give them a show they'll never forget." In that moment, the fate of the battle and perhaps the entire war hung in the balance. And as always, humanity was ready to defy the impossible. The bridge of the Dauntless was a flurry of controlled chaos. Officers manned their stations, their eyes glued to flickering displays filled with data streams tracking enemy ships. Red warning lights pulsed throughout the ship, signaling just how close they were to total annihilation. Commander Trent stood at the center, calm and focused despite the mounting tension. "Projectors are online," reported Lieutenant Harris, his voice strained. "But I still don't see how this is going to help." Trent allowed himself a faint smile. "The best battles aren't just fought with weapons, Harris. They're fought with imagination." With a flick of his wrist, Trent activated the ship's holographic systems. A shimmering wave of energy rippled through space, and suddenly the cold, dark void was filled with a dazzling spectacle. Giant figures of acrobats and clowns materialized, their forms twisting and tumbling through the stars. Brightly colored lights danced across the enemy fleet, creating a chaotic kaleidoscope that disrupted targeting systems and sensor arrays. The Zorax and Vorten warships hesitated, their captains momentarily stunned by the bizarre sight unfolding before them. For beings accustomed to rigid battle formations and precise maneuvers, this sudden eruption of chaos was incomprehensible. On the bridge of one Zorax dreadnought, an officer's mandibles clattered in frustration. "What is this madness?" it demanded. Even the Vorten, with their cold, calculating minds, struggled to make sense of the scene. Their advanced targeting algorithms faltered, unable to lock onto targets obscured by swirling holographic projections. Meanwhile, the Dauntless moved swiftly through the disoriented enemy lines, its maneuvering thrusters firing in quick bursts. Trent's plan was working, confusion had taken root among the alien fleets, buying precious time for the humans to regroup and reposition. Enemy formations are breaking, Lieutenant Harris reported, disbelief evident in his voice. They're completely disorganized. Trent nodded. Good. Let's keep them guessing. As the circus spectacle continued, drones launched from the Dauntless added to the chaos, weaving through the holograms and projecting even more illusions. Trapeze artists swung between ships, giant juggling spheres floated through the void, and fireworks of pure light erupted in dazzling bursts. The effect was overwhelming. Alien ships collided as their captains struggled to regain control. Communication channels were jammed with frantic orders and confused queries. The once imposing fleet was reduced to a disjointed mess, floundering in the midst of the unexpected. Status report, Trent demanded. Zorax and Vorten ships are in full disarray, Harris confirmed. Our fleet is moving into position for a counterattack. Trent's expression hardened. Then let's not waste this opportunity. Signal the fleet, it's time to strike. As the human forces surged forward, the spectacle continued to dazzle and disorient the enemy. What had begun as a desperate gamble was now transforming into a decisive turning point. And at the heart of it all was the sheer audacity of one human ship, defying the conventions of war with a strategy so absurd it was genius. The battlefield was a swirling storm of chaos, but within that chaos, humanity thrived. As the circus-like illusions continued to weave through space, human ships moved with precision and purpose. What had once seemed like a certain defeat was now transforming into a daring comeback. Commander Trent watched the tactical display as human ships closed in on their targets. The Zorax and Vorten fleets, still struggling to regroup, fired sporadically, their shots missing by wide margins. The circus spectacle had shattered their coordination, turning their formidable formations into scattered fragments. Fleet Command reports successful engagements across all sectors, Lieutenant Harris said, his voice steadier now. We're pushing them back. Trent's eyes never left the display. Good. Keep the pressure on, but don't get reckless. Controlled chaos wins battles, not blind aggression. As Harris relayed the orders, Trent's mind raced ahead. The aliens weren't fools. They'd recover from the shock eventually, and when they did, they'd be looking for blood. This was the moment to press their advantage and finish the job. Target the lead Zorax dreadnought, Trent ordered. If we take it out, the rest will crumble. The crew worked with practiced efficiency, plotting the attack vector and charging the ship's weapons. Meanwhile, the holographic projectors continued their dazzling display, keeping the enemy disoriented. A barrage of human torpedoes streaked through space, their trails glowing against the backdrop of the stars. They struck the Zorax dreadnought with pinpoint accuracy, breaching its shields and tearing through its hull. Explosions rippled across the massive vessel, and moments later, it was reduced to a smoldering wreck. Cheers erupted on the bridge, but Trent remained focused. Don't celebrate yet, he warned. We've still got work to do. The destruction of the Zorax dreadnought had a cascading effect. The remaining Zorax ships, leaderless and demoralized, began retreating. The Vorten, seeing their allies falter, hesitated as well. Their cold logic dictated that further engagement was no longer a viable strategy. Both fleets are pulling back, Harris confirmed. They're in full retreat. A wave of relief washed over the crew, but Trent knew better than to let his guard down completely. Monitor their movements. Make sure they don't regroup and come back for round 2. As the last of the alien ships vanished into the distance, silence fell over the battlefield. The human fleet, battered but victorious, held its position. They had done the impossible, turned the tide of war with creativity and courage. Trent allowed himself a rare moment of satisfaction. Not bad for a bunch of underdogs, he muttered. Harris grinned. They'll be telling stories about this one for years, sir. Trent nodded. Let them. But for now, let's get our people home. Victory had been hard fought and hard won, a testament to humanity's indomitable spirit. Against overwhelming odds, they had not only survived but triumphed, proving that sometimes, imagination was the deadliest weapon of all. The aftermath of the battle reverberated across the galaxy, leaving alien factions stunned and disoriented. News of the human victory spread like wildfire, turning the Dauntless and its commander, Elias Trent, into legends overnight. Species that had once dismissed humanity as insignificant were now forced to re-evaluate their perceptions. On Earth and within human colonies, celebrations erupted. Victory against such overwhelming odds was not just a military triumph, it was a symbol of hope and a testament to human ingenuity. But for those who had fought the battle, the euphoria was tempered by the weight of what came next. In the war room aboard the Dauntless, Trent stood before a holographic projection displaying the scattered remnants of the Zorax and Vorten fleets. His senior officers gathered around him, their expressions a mix of pride and weariness. "The galaxy won't forget what happened here," Trent said, his voice steady but thoughtful. "Neither will our enemies. They'll be back, smarter and more prepared." Lieutenant Harris, ever pragmatic, nodded. "We bought ourselves time, sir. Maybe enough to build alliances or develop better defenses." "Time is a luxury we didn't have before," Trent agreed. "And now we do." Humanity had always thrived under pressure, but this victory had shifted the balance. No longer seen as a minor species scrambling for survival, humans were now regarded as innovators capable of turning the impossible into reality. Their tactics, however unorthodox, were a testament to their adaptability and creative thinking. Galactic academies began studying the battle, analyzing how a single ship with limited resources had managed to outwit superior forces. Holographic warfare simulations modeled after the Dauntless Circus strategy became a staple in training programs. Even the Zorax and Vorten, begrudgingly impressed, integrated countermeasures against future human unpredictability. Despite the strategic value of the victory, Trent's thoughts lingered on the broader implications. War, after all, was never truly won. It merely changed shape. But perhaps this battle had done more than secure a tactical advantage, it had shown the galaxy a different way of thinking. For too long, galactic warfare had been a brutal, mechanical affair, devoid of creativity or imagination. The human approach, strange and chaotic as it was, had injected something new into the equation. And that unpredictability, Trent knew, would be humanity's greatest strength moving forward. "We've earned our place among the stars," Trent said quietly, more to himself than anyone else. "Now we just have to keep it." As his officers dispersed, Trent remained by the holographic display, contemplating the future. The path ahead would be challenging, filled with new dangers and shifting alliances. But humanity had faced the impossible before and emerged stronger. This was only the beginning of their journey through the stars, a journey defined not by brute strength, but by imagination, resilience, and the unyielding belief that no obstacle was insurmountable. And as long as there were humans willing to think differently, there was no telling how far they could go.